never walk again, but you will fly.
And so the three-eyed raven guides him back in time, and Bran gets to see one of the most famous moments in the history of Robert's Rebellion, which is the Tower of Joy.
That's my father.
The man beside him is Howland Reed, Mira's father.
What's in the tower?
That's enough for one day. We'll visit again another time.
I want to see where he's going.
Time to go.
As he wants to follow further into the vision, the raven brings him back. Bran's sitting around the cave, he's pretty bored, and gets the bright idea to go into a vision by himself. He's in a massive snowy landscape and turns around and suddenly spots the entire army of the dead. He sort of walks through all these dying, decaying bodies that have been reanimated, and he spots the Night King. And he turns back round, and every single one of those wights is staring right at him. And he turns back again. Bran wakes up screaming from his dream.
He saw me! The Night King! He saw me!
And Bran pulls up his sleeve and sees this ice burn on his arm from where the Night King grabbed him. And it now means that the magic of the cave is broken. And Bran has just revealed the location, the location of their team to the entire army of the dead.
The time has come.
The time for what?
For you to become me.
Am I ready?
No.
The Raven has to rush through some more visions because Bran isn't ready yet, and he needs to be before he becomes the Three-Eyed Raven. And so we hop back in time again, back to Winterfell Courtyard. While Bran is in this vision, the Night King and his army smash through the cave, and there's just abject panic and chaos. Summer sacrifices himself while all the wights tumble upon him, and just before that there's the showdown between two ancient enemies, the Three-Eyed Raven and the Night King. The Night King strikes down the Three-Eyed Raven, but thankfully it's too late because Bran is already the Three-Eyed Raven.
Bran, we're all gonna die!
Mira's trying to get him up. She's saying, "You've got to walk into Hodor because I can't drag your sleigh. We've got to get out of here." Bran finally manages to walk into Hodor, but meanwhile in his dream, young Hodor has just suddenly seen Bran, and all of a sudden starts having this strange seizure. Meanwhile, Bran, Mira and Hodor are just about escaping the cave through the back door, and they manage to close the door, but someone needs to hold it.
Hold the door!
And so Bran walked into Hodor, is holding onto this door, and there's this kind of mess up with the space-time continuum where Bran is sort of walking into Hodor through young Hodor or into old Hodor, and that's affecting young Hodor, and young Hodor is having this seizure on the ground going, "Hold the door, hold the door, hold the door, hold the door."
Hold the door! Hold the door!
Which eventually merges into Hodor, Hodor. And Hodor in the present day sacrifices himself. And it's such a sad, poignant moment because we lose Hodor just as we find out this crushing story about his origins. And he dies selflessly protecting Bran, one of the few unambiguously good characters.
Hodor! Hodor!
Bran now back, just him and Mira, and Bran needs to go into another vision. And so he goes into this vision and he's back at the Tower of Joy and sees that there's a woman giving birth, and that woman is Lyanna Stark, his aunt, and sadly dies in childbirth. But before she can, she quickly grabs Ned and says,
You have to protect him. Promise me.
and we realise that boy is Jon Snow, and he's not in fact the bastard child of Ned Stark, but the child of Lyanna and some other unknown person.
Promise me.
But at the start of season 7, Bran is not really Bran as we know it. He is properly the Three-Eyed Raven now, which means the entire history of the world has been downloaded into his head. Bran is now a vehicle for time and history. And so when he gets back to Winterfell and is reunited initially with Sansa, it's not the beautiful Stark reunion we were hoping for, because, as Bran says, he remembers what it was like to be Bran Stark, but he remembers so much else now. He just doesn't register emotions or much like that anymore. He just says and explains what he sees as he sees it. It's like at every second he is existing in so many different time periods. He's experienced the world through so many different people's eyes, and so it kind of turns his brain into something of a computer. And the Three-Eyed Raven.
I don't know what that means.
It means I can see everything. Everything that's ever happened to everyone. Everything that's happening right now. And then he meets back up with Arya and offers her this dagger that Littlefinger had just given to him previously.
Are you sure? It's Valyrian steel.
It's wasted on a cripple. He can sort of sense that there's going to be some importance to this dagger. And so as the season goes on, Littlefinger has been pitting the Stark sisters against each other. And just as we think Sansa's going to order the execution of Arya, we discover that she's actually taken some consultation from the world's biggest CCTV archive.
You conspired with Cersei Lannister and Joffrey Baratheon to betray our father, Ned Stark. Do you deny it?
I deny it. None of you were there to see what happened. None of you knows the truth.
You held a knife to his throat.
You said I did warn you not to trust me. And he gets his comeuppance. Come in. Samwell Tarly.
I wasn't sure if you'd remember me.
I remember everything. Samwell Tarly pops in again. They get chatting, and Bran explains the true situation of Jon Snow's parentage. He's the son of Rhaegar Targaryen and my aunt, Lyanna Stark. Samwell goes, no, you're wrong.
I transcribed a High Septon's diary. He annulled Rhaegar's marriage to Alyea. He wed Rhaegar and Lyanna in a secret ceremony.
Are you certain?
It's what the High Septon wrote in his private diary. I don't know why he'd lie.
In fact, Jon is not an illegitimate child at all, and Rhaegar did not rape Lyanna, they were in love. The whole rebellion was built on a lie, and Jon is actually the heir to the Iron Throne. And all of a sudden, everything gets very, very complicated because Jon and Daenerys are now in love. They're going to wage battle together, and Jon is pledging his support for her. And by the end of season 7, it's all a bit uncertain.